It's been about a year and a half since New Zealand pilot Philip Mertens was taken hostage by Papuan rebels. All parties, including the hostage takers, have shown a willingness to have him released, but doing so safely in the middle of a decades-long conflict between Indonesian security forces and indigenous militia is proving to be a complex and dangerous task. Caleb Fotheringham has more.
In February 2023, Philip Mertens, a husband and father from Christchurch, was working for Indonesian airline Susi Air when he landed his small Pilatus plane on a remote airstrip in Duga Regency in the Papua Highlands. He was taken hostage by a faction of the West Papua Liberation Army, commanded by warlord Igiannis Koigoya. The rebels, who also torched his aircraft, later claimed he had breached a no-fly order that they had issued for the area. 16 months on, and despite failed attempts to either rescue or secure Mr. Mertens' release, there's been very little progress. Andreas Hasono, a researcher at Human Rights Watch in Indonesia, says it's a complex situation.
It is complicated because there is no trust between the West Papuan militants and the Indonesian military.
Mr. Hasono says as far as he is aware, Mr. Mertens is in all right physical condition, all things considered.
Of course, he is not totally okay because he is held hostage, but he is physically okay. He has asthma. I learned that he had his asthma inhaler supplies.
The West Papua National Liberation Army High Commander Teriana Sator, in a statement in February, said they wanted to release Mr. Mertens to his family and asked for this to be facilitated by the Secretary-General of the United Nations. But Mr. Hasono says the entire situation was made more difficult after a failed rescue mission was staged by Indonesian authorities in March last year that saw casualties from both sides.
Some Papuan were killed. Meanwhile, on the Indonesian side, more than a dozen Indonesian soldiers, including from the special forces, were also killed. It is complicated. There is no trust between the two sides.
Marcus Haluk, the Executive Secretary of the United Liberation Movement for West Papua, a political arm of the Free Papua movement, speaking through a translator, says space for all parties, including the West Papua National Liberation Army, needs to be made to discuss Mr. Mertens' release.
They never involve TPNPB as a part of the conversation, so that's why there is important to create a space and make a decision where we should meet and stakeholders or actors can come together and talk about the process of release.
Meanwhile, in a statement sent to RNZ Pacific, a spokesperson for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade says Mr. Mertens' safety and well-being remains MFAT's top priority.
We're doing everything we can to secure a peaceful resolution and Philip's safe release, including working closely with the Indonesian authorities and deploying New Zealand consular staff. We are also supporting Philip's family both here in New Zealand and in Indonesia.
The Indonesian embassy in Wellington has been approached for comment.